you have a suspended driver's license, and you told me that you didn't.
I didn't think that I did.
A police officer in Palm Beach, Florida, stops a female driver. Without ever getting out of the car, she is issued a traffic citation and heads off. But later, in a videotaped statement, she lodges serious charges against the officer.
Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
She accused him of taking her out of the car, frisking her, sexually assaulting her, and placing her back in the car.
When I stepped out of the car, he proceeded to frisk me on the sides, pat me on my chest up here, and then he fondled my breast. I believe it was fondling. I don't believe it was frisking. He patted me on my stomach all the way down, and over my dress, he caressed my vagina. I feel very, very, very violated.
In a second taped interview, the police inform her that the entire traffic stop was shot on videotape and give her an opportunity to change her statement, but she declines.
For what if I told you that I've seen the videotape of this incident in its entirety from the time that you were stopped to the time that you left the scene? Would that change any of your statement that you just told me?
Yes.
They then accused her, of course, of lying and making a false report to this incident. Finally, she admits that she lied, that she fabricated the story.
Why would you do something like this to somebody who didn't do anything to you except write your ticket?
I'll explain why. I would have been driving a Jaguar if I had been driving a Mercedes or anything along those lines. I would have never been stopped. And I personally think he had a personal attack on me because...
With his friend. Grant Neal says he and his girlfriend were, or this woman that he knew, were having unprotected sex, but she stopped him and asked him to wear protection, which he did immediately. The next day, his girlfriend told her friend about the incident, and that friend thought that this was a rape, even though neither one of the participants thought it was a rape. And so the friend reported it to university authorities. And even though the girlfriend testified to college administrators, she was not raped, they did not care. Listen to the part of our interview with Grant and his attorney. Andrew, we have been covering this repeatedly, and what has happened in these cases from college campus to college campus is the administration has set up young college men to have the book thrown at them and basically to be convicted without a lawyer and under a standard that no court would accept. Isn't that true, Andrew?
That's absolutely true. And in fact, what is unfortunately happening is the Obama administration has laid a very heavy hand on the disciplinary process in colleges such that it's virtually assured that an allegation will turn into a finding of responsibility and expulsion.
I've been having to deal with this for so long, and it's just really a really hard thing to do when all the rights that you're given as a natural-born citizen of the United States and as constitutional due process, I didn't even have that. So that was extremely difficult to handle.
What are your odds of reversing this policy or getting the Department of Education to listen?
I think it takes a situation as dramatic as Grant's to have the people of this country and the Department of Education sit up and say, yes, we want to be proactive about sexual assault, but we can't do it at the cost of due process.
Joining me now, Arthur Aidala, who's a New York trial attorney and Fox News legal analyst, and Mark Eiglarz, who's a criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor. Great to see you both. It doesn't sound ridiculous. It is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Well, neither party thinks that there was a rape.
Of course it's ridiculous. Megan, I looked up in the dictionary under miscarriage of justice, and you know what I found? Not that, because they list words individually. But if they clump them together, they would have miscarriage of justice and this case, because it's fundamentally unfair. No due process, and now he's labeled a sexual offender and can't get into any college.
Listen, Megan, God bless you for talking about this now. I've been handling cases like this for a decade. That's just the environment that it is in education.
No, that's not true. The Obama administration changed the standard to just preponderance of the evidence to basically get yourself booted off campus. You just have to prove by 51% that you were raped, or in this case, that somebody you know on campus was raped. And the accused has very few rights. He's not allowed to confront his accuser. He can't have a lawyer in a lot of these proceedings,
correct.
Arthur.
You're right. But that's what's been going on in educational facilities for quite some time now. This is not a brand new thing. I've represented people. You're right. I'm not allowed to be there. I'm allowed to write a letter, but I'm not allowed to be there with my client. As a criminal defense attorney, that makes your skin crawl.
So you can get a guy labeled a sexual offender and take away his college career. He wants to be a doctor, 3.67 GPA, promising athlete, done. You're done. And good luck getting into another college when you have that on your record. I got to move on because we have 2 other cases to get to. We're going to continue to follow this case. Mark.
Chief of Police James Craig says yesterday's false report of a sexual assault in the city will not affect the way the department investigates these crimes. Yesterday, police charged 22-year-old Marianne Morin with filing a false report after she recanted her story that she had been raped by 5 African-American men at Portland's Back Cove Trail. News Center's Caroline Cornish reports.
What was once a rape investigation is now a question as to why 22-year-old Marianne Morin, seen here in a picture on her Facebook page, would make up the story that she was the victim of a violent crime. Police Chief James Craig says he's still not sure, but he wants people to know that his department doesn't take a hoax like this lightly.
I was very disappointed, upset with that, only because we expend a lot of time, resources. The anxiety that it causes in a community is not necessary.
Morin has been charged with the misdemeanor crime of filing a false report. Still, the chief says he doesn't regret holding a press conference about the alleged assault before police had the facts. False reports of sexual assault are extremely rare.
I had the press conference because I feel an obligation and duty to report crime, especially serious crime, to the community. You need to know, the community needs to know.
And the chief wants real victims of sexual assault to understand that regardless of what happened in this case, his department will take all accusations of sexual assault seriously.
I view a sexual assault crime like I would a homicide. They're very violent, intrusive, and certainly I want the community to know, I want the victims to know that we take that crime very seriously.